Trisha, I'm very sorry about your loss.
It's your fault!
I can't even imagine how you must feel.
Your children,
Rinsing,
are safe now. But have they heard her crying? Have they felt the sting of her tears? They will. And she will come for them. Who? La Llorona.
Welcome back to the Haddon Horror podcast. We review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark.
I'm Tawan.
I'm Elian.
And today we're reviewing The Curse of La Llorona, released in 2019, directed by Michael Chavez, and written by Mickey Daughtry and Toby Lacunas. Elian, can you please give the people the plot?
Ignoring the eerie warning of a troubled mother suspected of a child endangerment, a social worker and her own small kids are soon drawn into a frightening supernatural realm. Their only hope to survive La Llorona's deadly wrath may be a disillusioned priest and the mysticism he practices to keep evil at bay, on the fringes where fear and faith collide.
Like I said when we kicked off this entire retrospective review, I had only seen 3 movies in this entire Conjuring universe, and that was Conjuring 2 and Conjuring 3, and Annabelle Comes Home, and then this movie. And I've only seen this movie 3 times, meaning twice. And upon rewatch for this review, I can definitely say that my love for Linda Cardellini has definitely colored my opinion. Because now taking off the fact that I love Linda Cardellini, I'm like, whoa, this movie got some issues. And it just felt like something was off. And it just felt like something wasn't being portrayed accurately, even though I don't know much about the La Llorona legend. It just felt like this wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. And I don't know what I loved about this movie previously, but I don't love it anymore. But what about you, Tuan? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I did not like this movie the first time I saw it, and even more so now. I think the main thing immediately that hits when I think about this movie is, why is it taking place in LA instead of Mexico? I think that was the one big thing. I was like, I feel like this should not be why is La Llorona in LA right now?
Because she's an international queen. No.
No, you're right. But even besides that, it's just a lot of the stuff in here. It's just so cookie cutter to the point where it's boring at a certain point and doesn't even really isn't even entertaining. I could see for people who may not see a lot of horror and stuff like that, they probably would find this really scary. But people like us, watch a lot of horror, consume a bunch of it. Like this, you could just tell when something's being put out to just be put out. And I kind of capitalize on the urban legend of the La Llorona story, and it just doesn't feel like it was captured properly for the movie, especially because I'm not Latino or anything like that, but I've heard the story of La Llorona from jokes from friends and stuff, and just looking into myself. So it didn't really seem like this was kind of accurate of what happened, I guess you kind of say, but also it didn't really feel like it took the legend to heart. It was just oh, we have character that we could put in a horror movie what can we do for the jump scares, and then that was kind of it. And it didn't really kind of go past that point. And a lot of stuff in the story just didn't really make sense for like certain character decisions. Like this was like one of those movies where you can tell they were really just, they didn't let character choices or anything kind of form naturally. They just kind of wrote it for plot convenience most of the time. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things in this movie is like everything is like super convenient to the plot, and at a certain point, it's like at a certain point it was like we are getting all this stuff that was just kind of like happening in the decision making, the decision quote unquote from the characters, but I don't feel like certain things in here will be things that the characters will probably do if they were real people. But I think I'd probably say that's like my at least beginning thoughts on it. I definitely don't think this is a good movie though.
La Llorona was basically like The Forest, to be honest. Because The Forest was about that Japanese forest and like the legend, all the things that happened there, and but like then these certain people, got to the movie and it just made it so boring. And I feel like La Llorona was kind of like the same way, like it wasn't even really scary. I feel like the makeup was really cheap, and I feel like I've said this before, where like they just don't do well in like, in the whole makeup department. And, and we did see La Llorona a lot and it just didn't look good. And then I don't like the legend that they had used. I mean, La Llorona has a ton of legends. I just feel like they probably could have gone a different route. You know what I mean? Besides like, well, there's a lot of them, basically. And I'm Mexican, so I grew up hearing all sorts of stories about La Llorona, and like one of the main things is that, like a huge fear is hearing her. Like everybody would say that they heard La Llorona, they heard her cries, and honestly, like it sounds scarier than the movie made it seem. And I feel like they definitely could have leaned on. I mean, if they, I guess, really learned the legends and talked to people, then they probably could have known that the biggest thing is hearing her, and I feel like they could have leaned on that versus like seeing her. I guess if that makes sense. They could have leaned on the whole sound aspect of the movie, which I know they've done before, and they've done it great, versus, like, you see her and then you're dead, that's just not, I don't know, I grew up with, like, the fear of, oh my, like, I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night and I'm gonna hear her, and there's just, like, a ton of, like, stories and a ton of legends, like, I've heard stories from my family members, and it's just, I don't know, this movie just really disappointed. I did not enjoy it. I mean, I don't know what these people will be doing with these movies, especially with like cultural movies. They just don't tend to come out well. Not unless it was like originally made in that country, you know what I mean? But like, no, yeah, this movie was awful. I think it's the worst out of like the whole series. It just was not giving anything.
I was kind of like, I do agree with you on this fact, just due to the fact that just bringing back what you said about like why is this film being taken in LA? It was just like it really caught me off guard, like because it was like the minute I found out it was like like this movie was being filmed at like basically a huge urban city, it was just like it just didn't have the right atmosphere for this film, especially like. Mm-hmm. They're definitely taking La Llorona, obviously, from the Mexican tradition, the folklore of Mexico, the Mexican folklore. I'm so sorry. And what I'm just really confused. Like, how did La Llorona get there? Like, I understand it was just more of like I don't understand why a folklore is being taken from one country and put it into a different city. Like it was just not. I don't know how to explain this 100%, but that's how I'm feeling. Like on top of that, the story it just rubbed me off the wrong way because I'm just like. I'm not gonna say I was raised on La Llorona. Like I've heard La Llorona as a child. I was like told like if you don't behave if you are a misbehaved kid, La Llorona will take you. And I've always like listened to that part. But I'm like, it was the fact that the writers and all this were trying to make it seem like I have no words to describe how I'm feeling because it's just like they made La Llorona just like basically every kind of horror demon that you see on fucking Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, it was just like the way that they portrayed La Llorona wasn't even like pretty. It wasn't that accurate. When I'm like, or like they just made La Llorona just. No, just I'm just gonna revert back to what I was trying to say. It's just like literally they made her just to a just like a classical Hollywood demon. Like it just like it didn't set right with me, to be honest. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The movie that I thought I was in love with isn't this movie at all. Like
no, well, to be fair, like maybe like the first 10 to 15 minutes was actually pretty good, and are we allowed to talk about what parts of the scene we like here, or is that later on? Because I'll just hold my comments for that.
I mean, we can go ahead and jump to those scenes right now if you want. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like the first 10 to 15 minutes, I actually really enjoyed it. I was like, okay, it wasn't bad. You know what I mean? It was like I actually was enjoying the plot, and then. When we get to the scene where, you know, the two kids unfortunately passed away and we see La Llorona crying in the background and all this shit. And I'm just like, why is she here? Like, you already drowned the kids. Why is she here? On top of that, it was just like, I don't know. It just got so
convoluted.
Yeah, it just got so stupid in my opinion. It was just like, I don't even have the right words and I feel bad that I don't have like trying to describe it. Because I'm just frustrated. I'm really upset.
Yeah, I get that. But since we're talking about the scenes, I will say there were a couple scenes that I liked from the movie. The first being the car scene with the kids. That actor who was playing Chris, he sold the fear for me. Because like when the window started to roll down and he just like leaped over and he was freaking out the entire time, like that. He sold it for me. That was a good scene. But also, if you get this call that this woman's kids are dead, you have to go to this crime scene, then why the fuck are you bringing your kids? You didn't have anywhere.
I was like, what?
You didn't have anywhere to take them. You didn't have.
I swear,
to the neighbor's house.
Like, bro.
Like, I don't. Take them to the neighbor's house. Take them anywhere. Don't come up with a fucking 24-hour diet.
Why was it so imperative that she needed to go right then?
Right? In the middle of the night.
She's not a cop.
Why did you even call her in the middle of the night? Like, why did you hear her phone call me? Like, I just don't understand. And then when connected to that scene, when we get to the police station and Patricia's like, I prayed to La Llorona to come and take your kids and give me mine back.
Like, and in my head, is that how it works?
And in my head, I'm just like,
what?
I mean, I don't know how the legend works, but baby, your kids are dead. Like,
from my aspect, the legend. I'm sorry to cut you off. It was like the way I was like raised, or like the way that I remember the story, even at all. It's like it's been a while. Like it's been a while since I even heard La Llorona. It's but it's basically a child folklore. Yeah. No, it's like you can't really control La Llorona. It's like it's just like. She's there. Like,
take your kids, not mine. I didn't think it worked that way. And I'm just like, that whole interaction, I was just like, so you can bargain with La Llorona? You can offer somebody else's kids to save yours? But like, how are you going to get these kids back when they're dead? And the more, like, we saw the bodies, they're gone. I didn't get that part. And then
One
I
thing I
don't.
would. Oh, go for it. I'm sorry.
No, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just like how did like I think this is like the biggest mystery it's gonna be in this film. Like it's just like how did this happen? Like how did the Yona get to this like family as well? Now I'm not talking
To
about the second
Patricia?
family. No, not,
Patricia.
like yeah,
I mean, the first family. Like, yeah. What was the connection? Like, how did how did she latch onto Patricia? That's left
exactly.
so like. And then the other scene that kind of just like took me out of it is how did Patricia get out of lockup to get to their house? Wasn't she locked up, or did I miss a scene where she got out?
There wasn't anything in between there. She was just detained. We don't know anything that happened after that point.
So we saw her being detained, and then next thing you know,
I
she's
mean, well, they never
knocking.
said. We never knew. Well, we don't know if she was charged for anything. So
True, but like her being any part of that last act did not make sense for me. Like it was pissing me off when she busted through the door. I'm like, okay, no, not this bitch again, not her again. Like all those scenes of her at the end, and then she was going so hard, and then just hearing the kids cry, she snapped out of it. Like, how? Why is that going to make you snap out of it when you already offered these kids to this fucking demonic entity? Like, I don't understand. Like, why you have to change your heart now? And then why
I
was
know.
that excommunicated disemboweled whatever the fuck priest was there? Like, what was he like? I didn't understand. Like, you showed us a priest who's actually still a part of the order or whatever, but then you give us somebody who no longer wants to be part of the priesthood.
I mean,
I I
he was
understand
only
that.
there. He was really, he was only there for the Marvel connection.
Yes.
Animal had to make
Yes.
a little cameo.
Yes. True. But
He was
still,
only
I'm
there
just
for our
like,
MCU connection.
and then like so we only really had him to give us the story of to give us the legend, and then even with him telling the legend, it made it seem like okay, he's telling us the version that he knows. But from the way
Right.
that he told it, I was expecting to see like a mother clip or the real story to be revealed towards the end. And
Mm.
that's not that's it because the way he told the story was like, okay, this isn't the right version of the story. This is just what everyone's been led to believe, but we're gonna find out the true story. So I was like, okay, maybe, she didn't kill the kids and the man killed the kids and then killed her and then she just killing kids because she's trying to get her kids back. I just thought it was gonna be like a different story that was gonna be told because the way that he presented the story to her, but it wasn't. So then I was just left more pissed off and mad because I could have sworn I remembered there was another story that was told towards the end of the movie that kind of like tried to make her seem not like she was a completely deranged, heartbroken woman, but that didn't come. And rewatching that scene in the church just made me mad. It's like you made it seem like there was more to the story. But that might have just been me looking for something more. But other than that, like there weren't any scenes that stood out for me that were any other way. I mean, the whole pool scene was kind of just like, why is this here? Like, because at this point we could all just sit in the fucking pool until the sunrise. Like, if you already blessed the fucking pool and she can't get back in it, then shit, let's get soggy until the sun comes up. Like, I don't understand what's going on.
That pool being in this movie pissed me all the way off because if La Llorona really wanted that girl when she had the umbrella, why she ain't pull in the pool?
I swear to
Right?
God.
She could have drowned
Right?
her right there. She had a whole pool.
Okay, no, there is a scene. But one more scene. The scene that pisses me off. The scene that makes me remember why I hate kids in horror movies.
Oh my
This
god!
girl
Sorry,
is
no.
with you seen this ghost attack you twice, tried to kill your brother, tried to kill you, but you're going to risk everyone's life for a fucking doll?
It was an ugly ass doll too, but you know what? That's just me saying it.
Mommy, I got the doll and I didn't break the barrier. Like, yes, whoosh that bitch out the fucking
Fuck
door.
doll.
I was
I would
so
be
glad when
so
she got
real.
whooshed. I was so glad when she got whooshed.
When she
Got
got
her ass
when
beat.
she got pulled out that door, I was fucking cracking up. Like that was so funny to me. Like whoever the way they shot that, like that seemed out of a comedy. I'm
Alan's
sorry.
dead.
Oh man, that shit was so funny.
God.
But what about you, Twan? Any scenes that stood out for you, good, bad, or indifferent, sir?
So I think one scene that does like piss me off is going back to when she brought the kids to the crime scene with her. Why did she park so far back in the first place? Like, if you, like in that scene, it was so darkly lit. Like, if I'm bringing my kid,
I think it was more of like she didn't want them to. I think she was trying to prevent them from seeing the kids' bodies.
well, if she wanted
But
to prevent them from
also,
seeing, she should have
why'd you
brought them
bring
there.
them? Right.
But yeah, and like including with that, it's like if even that taken into that account, it's just like, girl, it's dark as hell outside. Like it's wherever she parked her car, there were no police back there,
Excuse me.
and there were no police or anything back there. I could have seen if she would have parked them like near like one of the cop cars or something, so that they wouldn't just be there by themselves. But she did. She parked them like so far back, and I don't know. It was just like, why would you do that? Like it didn't make sense to me.
Oh, I just wanted to say this. Like, I felt like I don't know if you guys agree with this. Like, I felt like this family was very isolated to everybody. Like,
It felt like it.
Yeah, like it was just like, firstly, like just to bring back from The Conjuring. Remember, like they were isolated because they lived in like their own land, basically. But I'm talking about this family lives in the city with
Literally,
neighbors, and I'm just like, like they've isolated this family so much. I'm like, what was the point of the beginning with the guy? I'm just like, oh, it was just like 2 scenes with him, and that was it. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know. It was just like, ooh.
Yeah,
I don't know if they had the budget.
Yeah, no, you are correct in that, because like, I mean, you don't got to be like besties with your neighbors, but they probably lived in that house for a long time, and like, girl, you don't know, you can't take your kids to the neighbors or something, like.
Like not one little friend or nothing, just like, oh, just in their room.
Another scene though that kind of like, not like pissed me off, but it's just there was no callback to it or any follow up, was when they called the Child Protective Services on her,
right?
And brought her to her house.
That's what I was trying to like. What I'm referring to is just like they never brought any of the beginning scenes back. I'm just like, oh
yeah, like there was no callback to that. It was like, so Child Protective Services comes once and don't come back.
I know, that's a damn lie.
For real, like my mom works at that, just so I know that's not true. So it was just like, okay, so y'all think this lady is like burning her kids and everything, and then nothing comes of it? Like what?
Right.
I don't know. That was just like there was no like callback to that, and I guess same thing with that scene with the doll that the little girl lost, because it could have been different if like they were like, oh, that doll was given to.
I think it was her
father.
I think they said. Oh, I think the only thing we have is just like saying, I don't know when it was that scene where she was just trying to comfort her. We're saying like, you remember what your father told you, like just hold on to her. That's all I remember. That's the only thing that they referred to with her father. So that's why I think maybe her father gave it to her, but I don't know.
Okay, if that's the case, I could agree. But it just didn't, it was just like so random. I feel like it really wasn't brought up enough for me to care that she would do all of that for it, especially with the situation. Like, I know they're kids.
Girl, I mean, like, I was like, the doll was not that worth it. Come on now.
For real. And I'm like, I know like they're kids and all, but girl, you almost got dragged like twice. Like, come on now. Like I don't think she would do that, but yeah, that was just not a good decision. And
I was screaming at that scene. She
Yeah.
just yanked her.
And I think lastly, just to kind of round out for me at least, I think the number one scene that probably like pissed me off probably most of this movie was them killing La Llorona with the cross from the tree.
Don't even remind me of that, please. That was just like that was it.
I was like, so we've been talking this whole time about water and all this stuff. Like, so it wasn't like anything in relation, I guess, in relation in quotations, because the tree was made of the wood that was around when she drowned the kids. But it was so anticlimactic when it happened.
But that was confusing because they made it seem like this is from the tree that witnessed her crime, the only witness of her crime. But in the flashback, there was a whole fucking forest she was in. So why don't we have several crosses from several different fucking trees? Why is this one fucking tree the only witness to the crime? I saw a whole bunch of trees around. I saw some twigs, all types of shit. So I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to understand why this one tree and this one particular cross.
I'm dead.
No, I know exactly.
I don't know. It's just they always gotta make it religious again. Like that's one thing that the Conjuring universe does, and they try to find some way to put it in there. Like you already gave us the priest times two.
I mean, at least for me, I don't really care about the religious context of it, but also
I don't either. But they try to when they do stupid stuff like this, it's like, come on.
Yeah, like that. In my opinion, it's just such an easy cop out to the situation, and it's like what, like I don't know, like it just felt like so easy. Like to be fair, I feel like at that point somebody random could have probably discovered that shit. Like it just tried to stab her with the cross. Like I don't know, it just felt like really random and not really it felt like it wasn't like a given win. It felt like such an easy like cop out win.
I'm just saying, like, if it was that easy, why haven't the people of Mexico done that?
No, exactly. Like the legend was like from the 1600s at that point. Like nobody. I
mean, wouldn't the people that in the village and the township was from? Wouldn't they have thought of that? Like, oh, we should probably.
That's what I'm saying.
And when did they cut these trees down to make them into crosses? Like, I need more stories, no more backstory about this fucking tree now. Because when did this happen?
Oh, don't say nothing. James Wan might give you another sequel.
Wait, I don't know about y'all, but what really pissed me off, the scene dead ass, I don't know why, but it really pissed me off was, you know how like at the ending they were getting ready for La Llorona to come, and they just like they pan from one scene and then it goes black, and then the next scene black, and another scene. I'm like, what the fuck? Yes.
I think they were trying to go for the Conjuring stylistic editing.
Oh hell no!
You know, Conjuring did all those fucking zooms and shit. And
I'd rather have the zoom over that.
I think I'm just trying to get back to that. But to get back on track, we can move on to the characters, and I want to start with Patricia. Now, for me, the first time I saw this movie and rewatching it for this review, I kept looking at this actress like, who the fuck is this lady playing Patricia? And it just kept getting stuck. I was like,
girl,
fuck it, I'm going to Wikipedia. And I was like, this is fucking Knock to the Moon from the Brendan Fraser fucking movies.
Yes, that's her. I knew who she was immediately.
It wasn't clicking for me. Have you never seen the Brendan Fraser Mummy trilogy?
No, I haven't seen it. I think the only time
Sis was a baddie, and I was like, not the baddie with the body paint from the 2000 movie. I'm like, girl, this is a Knock to the Moon. I'm like, okay, this is who she was. But going back to the movie, I needed to know more about Patricia. Like, how did La Llorona get attached to Patricia and her kids? Like, they're making it seem just like La Llorona is just like stalking single moms with two kids, and I need to know more. And like, is she stalking moms who are sad or depressed or who like it just?
Right.
I needed to know about Patricia and how Patricia ended up with the curse, and like we didn't even get to see Patricia and her kids, and they like for a grieving mother who just lost her kids.
She really stopped grieving real quick. Like,
yes,
she had one scene and then
she went from grieving her kids to then pretty much setting loose and cursing the other kids. Like, really? You went from mourning your kids to then now you let some other person's kids be killed so you can possibly get your kids back? And at that point, I was like, I no longer care about this character. Like, y'all got me. I turned on her. And when she made that switch at the end, I was like, I still don't like you, bitch. You sent this woman to kill these kids. You knew what she was going to do. Even if you got your kids back. Like, what?
I was going to say something, but I can't. It's too, I'm internally laughing, but y'all not going to laugh at me. I was literally saying, because I'll tell you about Patricia in a second. I was literally saying she was mentally just passing along La Llorona hotspot password. That's all.
You know, pretty much.
Bye.
But what about you, Tawan? What are your thoughts on Patricia?
She was already in a predicament regardless, because even if Patricia was able to explain La Llorona what was happening, there's no way she'd have been able to, just because due to the situation of her already being in the watch of like child protective services and whatnot. So like there was not much like she really would have been able to do there to kind of stop her kids from getting taken. And like that was kind of like, I felt like that portion of it was kind of good for this movie, because it's like, damn, like she really can't do anything at this point in time because of the predicament she's already in. So sure, I get her trying to like pray to La Llorona to take someone else's kids instead of hers just because they died and she was trying to save them but couldn't in that time. But outside, like past that though, and we get to the end of the movie where she's like there, I don't think she just needed to come back. Like there was no reason for her to come back at that point. Like we already, like it was another one of those like plot conveniences that just was there to, you know, help a character out, and they brought her back just so she could get Anna out of the basement that she was locked in. I feel like it probably would have been better to have the priest come to get her out instead of Patricia. I feel like that would have been a better choice, at least in my head. I don't think Patricia was like a bad character or anything, but you know, it set up how we got to where we were. But I don't think she needed to be in the third act of the movie.
Elian, what are your thoughts on Father Perez?
He was literally there just to get the cutscene of Annabelle.
He was just like the continuing thread. Like, okay, by the way, guys, this is part of the Conjuring universe. Here's Father Perez.
Yeah, no, like that's. I really have no words for Father Perez, because he was just like, he was just there. He was just telling us the story of La Llorona, and then just saying like, just brings back Annabelle, literally the cutscenes, and I'm just like, okay, great. Like,
Tuan, what are your thoughts on Raphael?
My thoughts on Raphael immediately were, that's Tuco from Breaking Bad, because
yes!
I hate you.
I was like, what is he doing here? Like, that was my thoughts the entire time seeing him. Like, I don't know why I couldn't take him serious in his role, because I was like, that's Tuco from Breaking Bad. Like, I can't take him serious.
My head went from, oh my god, that's old boy from The Closer. Oh my god, that's old boy from Breaking Bad. Like, my head just kept going back and forth on those two.
Yeah, I could not I don't know why I couldn't take him serious in this role, but so yes, his character was useful. He helped them, you know, get the what was it, firewood, I believe, around like the house and stuff so that they could try to keep her out. He was actually pretty helpful what he was able to do. I don't see why the priest couldn't help as well, though. I think that's something that keeps coming back in my mind. I don't see why the priest couldn't help more, but
he did help at the best he can, especially like he's not wrong. Like, you know, the church has to keep its reputation and its image in pristine condition, even like after, you know, the amount of years of like, let's just be honest with that. But it was just like, the church won't do shit. They really, like, they will wait. They'll make you wait.
Okay,
So, like,
we just saw them send a fucking rookie nun to go handle some shit that was happening at the nunnery. People that were nuns.
She handled it though.
And then
I mean, Raphael.
they got Anna Lorraine going country to country, fucking shit up. So they couldn't send the other priests to go do some shit.
They were standing on Anna Lorraine was standing on business.
Okay, in their defense, the last time he tried to like actively do something, Annabelle whooped his ass. Okay, so you probably was like, no, you can't. You can't go. Okay, never mind. Go ahead, Torn.
No, I was just gonna say, like besides that though, like he was helpful, you know, within what he had to do under like his constraints of being outside of like the church and stuff like that. And if he wasn't there, they really would have been SOL. So he served his purposes as to kind of like lead us into the third act, but there wasn't much else there. I kind of had a thought, like I had a thought about how I would probably have wanted his character to be, but I'll pass on that for now and we can continue.
Oh no, I want to hear. Share it to class.
I felt like it would have been cool if he wasn't a actual like shaman or like whatever his actual role was, and what if he was the husband of Patricia? And he was actually trying to light it on the door.
Yes, that would have been good. You know what? I felt like that in the beginning. It's like, oh, never mind. You know what? That would have been so much better.
I was like, he was a little, I don't know.
Yeah, because his vibes was off a little bit. Like to the point where he used the kid as bait.
Especially when he walked away, like slowly. I'm like, that could have been good. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so let's talk about Anna and the kids. Now, we learned that they're going through a loss. Anna lost her husband, the kids lost her father, and she works she's struggling with her work-life balance post losing her husband. And I wish, see, it's not even a problem with Anna and the kids. It has to go back to them not fleshing out the story of La Llorona. And if they were going to tell the story the way they told it, then they should have not chose La Llorona and just made some shit up. Because when it goes back to Patricia, okay, Patricia's a single mom, she's on hard times, she has two kids. You have Anna, who's now is a widow, and she has two kids, and she's on hard times. She can't find. The kids are late for school. She's late for work. She can't find a good balance in her new circumstances. And it's just like, if we were told that the entity were drawn to women and mothers and families in this situation, then I would get it. Because we started to see similarities between Patricia and Anna, but none of that has to do with La Llorona. And I just wish it was something that could have been like, it just, like, yes, I feel for Anna, I feel for the kids. And the kids, like, those actors were great. They sold me on the fear and the panic and all of that. Like, that was great. Linda Carlini was killing it. But I just feel like the script and the story didn't do them justice. I needed more for why they were in peril. And you can't tell me that the only reason this is happening is because Patricia made a deal with La Llorona. Like, did you make this deal as she was drowning your kids or afterwards?
That's what I
Well,
wanted
she
to
made it
do.
after.
No, but that's the thing that really confuses me because, like, if we look back at the beginning, remember how the son actually went to go investigate, and then he sees La Llorona in the background. He doesn't see the Patricia until like in the mid, or did they see each other before? Like, did they see each other before, or was this like once he came back to the car, they saw Patricia?
Yeah, once after the Patricia's kids were killed, we don't see her until like that scene where she was telling her that like she was telling Anna that she let her kids get killed, but it was at the point where she was at the police station and Anna was talking to her that she said she prayed that La Llorona will come for her kids next.
No, I understand that, but did the kids see Patricia before or after La Llorona made her little cameo with Anna's son?
Oh, I don't think she's seen her kids in that time frame because it looks like they took them to like a halfway home.
Yeah, because I was really confused by it. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it looks like wherever they were, it looks like they took them to a halfway home, and they probably took her under. Like,
got it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so Anna got her kids taken away.
No, Patricia got her kids taken away. Then.
I mean, well, Anna like took the kids away. I mean, okay, so that's what you say. So because the kids weren't with Patricia. Patricia couldn't keep them safe. So La Llorona was able to get a hold of them. Okay, now I missed that scene or that dialogue. Okay, now that makes more sense to why she was blaming them. But still,
go ahead.
But I still don't understand. Like, I need more than just Patricia prayed to La Llorona to come take Anna's kids for why Anna's going through this. Like, you can't build all these similarities to Patricia and Anna and have the only connection be, oh, I prayed for this to happen to you.
Well, it doesn't even make that much sense as well because La Llorona had already seen, was it Chris, the son? Yeah, La Llorona had already seen Chris at the crime scene, so it was like, so she was gonna get him either way. She already put the marker on him when she.
Yeah, that's what it comes to question. Like, did this happen? Did you pray for this to happen to Anna before your kids were killed? Like, the moment that the kids were taken from you, did you start praying, please take her kids?
It could be it could be possible just to assume that's what happened because I mean, we know from earlier that Anna was working with Patricia's case for like some years at this point, so she probably known that Anna also had kids. And
that's why you don't tell folks your private business. Like, you shouldn't be telling the people who like no. But outside of that, I did like the family scenes. You know, I liked how you could tell that they were close, and that you can tell that the three of them are close, and they're trying to like get some normality back into the family, but they're also all collectively like grieving. And with the son was just like taking action, trying to keep everybody safe. You know, and then he's running around playing cops and robbers like his dad was a cop. Like, but also but then that thing, her husband was a cop. Why the hell aren't there any cops around to help? Why we just got a fucking priest? You showed us this one cop, and you showed us the detective, but they didn't really play a part of the story.
I mean, what would they have helped with though?
I don't know, but like, don't give me all this.
You seen what they did in Conjuring 2?
No, literally. What are they gonna do?
But still, like, you don't give me all this like all this extra knowledge and all this like exposition and not do anything with it. I hate movies do that. If you're not gonna use it, then don't fucking show me or tell me.
No, for real, because they really try to put a lot of like, plot in like the first 30 minutes. I don't know if you, or like maybe like the first 30 to 45 minutes, but every plot had like all these plots that they were putting just didn't connect. Like, we obviously know the main story is already Anna and the kids, and then just Patricia, then La Llorona is just like basically passed on to Anna. But there was no point. Like, firstly, why did Anna have to be in that scene where she has to see these dead kids? One. Two was they should have. I feel like they should have built up more at the beginning with Patricia, because honestly, if we had more information with like how Patricia, like what happened to Patricia, what got her into the child protective, like what's it called, CPS basically. It's CPS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like there was so many like missing details on the beginning, and then I feel like what was the point of Anna being in the crime scene? Like, on top of that, why was Patricia there? And it was just more of like, I also wanted to see how the kids got out of a secured location and there's nobody there.
Well, it was the 70s. The security systems weren't like all they could get to be. You know.
I mean, there should still be security. Like,
I mean, they didn't even have kids on milk cartons at this time. So, you know.
I forgot about that shit.
Yeah, so you know. The whole serial killer thing was just starting to become known. You know, you gotta take a little grain of salt. You know, they weren't too smart about the crime back then.
It was
But
just like
go
go
ahead. No,
No,
go
I
ahead.
was just saying there were just some scenes that just didn't make sense to add into this film. Instead of like they could have just, instead of the scenes that were not really useful or like really needed, they should have used that time to build up more for what happened. Like, how did the Patricia meet La Llorona? I would have rather have that and then let it process a little bit more. Oh, excuse me.
Like, even if they were just like going, if they were like, if they would have went to, oh yeah, we're on a trip to Mexico after my husband died, would have been better. At least they would have been in Mexico. They would have been around where the legend happened. They would have been. It could have been done, but they could have just did something more. But what about you, Tamar? What are your thoughts on Anna and the kids?
Agreeing with you all, they definitely were all like acted like well. Linda Cardellini is a good actor, and the kids were good here as well. But yeah, it was just some kid. It was like really. I won't get much on like the kids part of it all. More so on like Anna's character. That I don't know. I feel like somebody who works in child protective services would probably have alternate like ways to probably take care of some of this stuff. Like, yes, we're working with supernatural here, but I don't know. Like, she was doing a lot of stuff that if you know that the story of La Llorona, after like at this point, involves like a woman drowning her kids, like, why are you just letting your kid in the shower, the bathtub, take a bath by herself, and you know that you didn't see this entity yourself in the house at this point? And
Why are you not getting away from the fucking pool in your backyard?
exactly, like, why is the pool not being drained? Like, I don't know, like, certain precautions could have been taken by Anna's character at a certain point, especially after you know, like, what the situation is. But outside of that, they didn't. I don't know. Like they really didn't give Linda Cardellini much to work with on like a writing side of things, which like Mark mentioned. And I think at the end of it, that's what kind of comes down to it in this movie, is that the screenplay and like the script was it was kind of sucks, and it's very like cookie cutter in my opinion for the like like horror movie. And not all horror, like some horror movies and stuff we can kind of skirt around it, but it was just a lot of stuff didn't really make sense or kind of add up to where it could have been, or a lot of kind of story beats that they started but didn't come back to and stuff like that. And I know I brought this up in like scenes, but the whole when they brought the Child Protective Services to her house, I know it probably it'd have been hard to kind of explain that from her POV, but at that point, like I don't know, she could have did something else. She could have did something. It wasn't really, but I don't even know why I'm stressing about it because it wasn't even brought back up anyway. So it doesn't even matter.
That's what I'm having issues with. Like, I will say right now, I'm having issues trying to even describing those because like there's so many like plots that are open that I don't even know what to discuss.
Yeah, and I was about to get into as part of it, but yeah, it's like at that point it don't even matter because they didn't bring it back up.
No, for real.
All in all, though, Anna was fine. The kids were fine on a acting level. Everything else was the writer's fault.
No, I 100 agree. I just agree with you on that one. I was hoping for some like this was the first time I ever watched this film, and I was like hoping like to be wrong. I was like hoping it was gonna be good, but it just really left me very speechless. Where I'm like, I'm confused at the same time. It's not just even confusion. It's not even just confusion. It's just more of like, what the fuck did I watch? Like, and the writers, I feel like they just copied and pasted the legend La Llorona, and then they just added it to this film, and just basically just wrote her in as like a demon that stalks children. Just like it was you and Mark that brought it up. I was like, just stalks children that literally are with like, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Shit. Take that part out.
We should go on ChatGPT and ask it to write a script for a La Llorona movie and see if it's better.
I mean, there are a lot of movies out there, so we might have to watch those so I get a better idea.
I did hear I think there's a 2022 version actually.
There is. There's like a couple. There's like a couple like Mexican movies, and there's like some Venezuelan movies and a Guatemala movie as well. Like there's like a whole thing that will probably give us a better version than this, because watching a movie, like I don't know, it's just like, so she killed her kids because according to this movie, the movie's version, she killed her kids because she found out that her husband was cheating on her with someone else.
What the kids got to do with it? Damn.
But yes, you also, I'm like, girl, in my head, I'm just like, girl, back in the day, like, girl, just write the check and I'll take care of these kids. Like, do what you got to do. But don't murder the kids over it. Like, he's still with that bitch. And the kids are dead. Like, you didn't accomplish anything. But I just feel like, okay, if you're going to take this legend and not stay true to it, flesh it out more. Turn it on its head. Do something different. Or not use this legend at all and make your own shit. They could have copied parts of this and just called it something else. And then, because Annabelle movies aren't based off anything that's truthful.
That is true.
The Nun isn't based off anything that's legitimate. So they could have taken some random legend. They could have took this story and then put another name on it, and it would have been great. But I feel like when you have a legend, you have a story that's so steeped in cultural like relevance, you can't fuck it up like this. And that's exactly what they did. But what about you, Juan? What do you think about La Llorona?
I already talked about it. Didn't I?
Oh, damn.
Didn't I? Oh, wait, no, I didn't. My bad. My bad.
It wasn't.
No, yeah, my bad.
I'm not that high.
La Llorona in this movie was now I'm not gonna say like, oh, I know what a La Llorona spirit should be doing. I don't, but she felt like she was just doing random stuff when the opportunity was already there to kind of take the kids if she really wanted to. I watched, a video that was talking about the movie, and the guy in the video brought up a funny point that I guess I'll mention here, in that he felt like La Llorona to kind of be like Pennywise in It, where there were opportunities to like get the kids, but like in It, Pennywise didn't because he had a reason to, because he wanted them to be more scared or fearful. That made sense. Whereas in here, La Llorona had like three chances to take that little girl if she really wanted to. Like, you had the pool scene. You also had the one scene where, well, actually no, the first pool scene where the little girl's playing with the umbrella. She literally went right over the pool. The scene where the little girl was in the bathtub, where she did try to drown her, she was just unsuccessful. And then the third like pool scene, but it was just like a lot of stuff where, like, why are you doing all these random jump scares? If you really wanted to get these kids, you could. Now, yes, it's for the plot. We all know that, but it just seems like very like inconsistent at a certain point, where the supposed villain or demon is not really doing what they're saying they're going to do, because they weren't even like unsuccessful at certain points. It's just not even trying. So I don't know. It didn't really. It was just kind of inconsistent with what La Llorona was doing. It's kind of the same thing with the Nun, where Valak was just doing whatever the fuck Valak wanted to do, and it didn't feel like that fully. But La Llorona was also kind of doing a bunch of that type of stuff as well, and in the movie. And I do wonder if, like, at the end where, like, I think it was it? I forget how it came up where she, like, turned to her normal self for a second. I forget exactly what happened there. But when she, like, saw herself in the mirror, she, like, went back to whatever. But I'm like, if she didn't see herself in the mirror, would that have resolved it? That she looked pretty again? But yeah, those are my little thoughts on La Llorona.
Ariana?
I really am going to agree here with Juan because, like you could have just drowned the girl, to be honest, because, like, unlike, like, for example, like the nun and like the past demons, they kind of fed off the fear because that's what they derive pleasure from. But La Llorona basically was just a killer. She killed her kids because of like envy, and like basically the legend is like, if you leave your kids unattended, or like if you're La Llorona will take your kids and she'll basically drown them. Like, there was no need. Obviously, it's for the plot, like Juan said. It was just like there was no need for her to feed off of these kids and anything. She could have just killed them instantly. That's literally all I can say. Plus, the makeup on La Llorona was very terrible. I was like, "What the fuck am I looking at?"
That's true.
So bad.
No, it was really. It was so bad. It was just terrible.
Like, why was she gray at some point? Like, why?
I think the reason why she was gray. I think the reason why she was gray is because, like, didn't they say, like, in the film, like, she killed herself there too in the water? And from what I know, like, the water, like, your body's decomposing, your flesh does turn into a grayish tone.
Yeah, but we've seen like entities before. I don't know. I guess. I don't know.
I could be wrong, but I'm not really sure. I think that's what they were trying to go for, but still, like,
nah, the movie's wrong. We'll go with that. The movie's wrong. So.
No, 100%.
So, yeah, the movie's wrong. And with that, Juan, can you give the people the behind the scenes info and facts, sir?
Yes, I can. So, The Curse of La Llorona had a budget of $9 million, and it brought in a box office. Wait. It brought in a box office of $123.1 million.
I know you fucking lying. Oh,
While
hell
this
no.
was director Michael Chavez's first entry in the series, he would go to direct The Nun 2, Conjuring 3, and 4 now.
Oh, that's right. There is a fourth one.
I don't like his directing style, but okay.
Well, Llorona said it all.
As a promotional stunt, a theater in Montreal, Quebec that was supposed to play Pokemon Detective Pikachu played this film instead, causing the children to run out crying. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, that's funny. Despite being largely and widely accepted by the public as a spin-off chapter from the Conjuring universe, the information was later confirmed to be false by the director Michael Chavez, who stated that the film was never meant to be included in the shared universe and that it couldn't be fully embraced because it was made without one of the main producers from The Conjuring.
James Wan.
But they still did it anyway. It's like
it's still part of it, you know.
Yeah. Samantha seen
Juan
watching.
just mad.
Huh?
I say Juan just mad.
Oh yeah, true. Samantha is seen watching a classic Scooby-Doo Where You cartoon. Linda Cardellini, who plays her mother Anna, played Velma in Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. Two of my faves. In some versions of the story, La Llorona wasn't the one to kill her children. One tale tells of a poor woman and her husband who started having children but could not afford to feed them. The husband's solution was to drown the children. After giving birth to their fifth child, La Llorona followed her husband to the river, where she saw him throw the newborn into the water. Desperate to save her child, she jumped in after the baby and drowned. Ever since, she returns to the riverbed nightly, weeping and wailing at the loss of her children. Some critics' reactions. The film currently sits at a 28% on Rotten Tomatoes. At Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 41 out of 100, based on 28 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. From Rotten Tomatoes, it says a formulaic slab of supernatural. What? I'm gonna be honest, I don't know that word. I'm gonna start that over. From Rotten Tomatoes, a formulaic slab of supernatural movie destined to be forgotten by years or perhaps even months in. From IMDb, it could be better. It has a boring atmosphere and doesn't scare you. The Nun was better. At least it's 3 good jump scares within this one.
Well, enough about them. What about us? Do we cash or pass? The Curse of La Llorona.
So I definitely pass on this movie. It's not my favorite. I think it's the worst out of the whole series. It was boring. It wasn't scary. It was cheesy. Like, it looked cheesy. I think the story itself wasn't good. And I guess maybe I'm also very biased because, it's a legend that I'm very familiar with. And it was just not, it just wasn't a good movie.
Elian?
Pass.
Just pass, no explanation?
This whole podcast is already the explanation.
Well, what about you, Tuan? Do you cash or pass?
Very much pass on this movie. Will not be watching it again. Only watched it for us and the viewers, listeners. But besides that, I don't see myself ever coming back to this one. It was just not that good of a movie. The writers were not really on their A game with it.
And for me, it's also going to be a pass, from the writing to the directing to it not being truthful or respectful of the source material, I should say. I don't know. I'm kind of like heartbroken because before I hit play to rewatch it for this review, I enjoyed this movie. I don't know what I enjoyed, and I wish I can go back and just like talk to myself because I don't know what I saw originally, because this isn't what I saw. There's no way this is a movie that I saw that I was like, oh, I love this movie. So I don't know. I'm kind of, this is a pass for me. But join us next week as we review Annabelle Comes Home. Now this one This one I've seen. No, I didn't see the first two Annabelle movies because I don't do porcelain dolls. But I felt like I had to watch this one when this one came out because Ed and Lorraine was in it. And I thought, I was like, okay, this is going to be a more of a direct sequel to those Conjuring movies. And because I knew that Conjuring 3 was coming out, I was like, okay, maybe I should watch Annabelle Comes Home. And from what I remember, I enjoyed this movie, but it's been a while. I mean, I also enjoyed Halloween. See how that turned out. So tune in next week to see if I still enjoy it. Good night. Even ending.
Let's never talk about this movie ever again. If you like this episode, please check out the Haddonfield Horror podcast from big series like Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Saw, or our one-off reviews like The Blackening and Hereditary. You can follow Haddonfield Horrors on Instagram and TikTok, where the hosts post updates and mini-reviews. Full episodes are available on several podcasting platforms and YouTube. If you're listening to us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. The Haddonfield Horror podcast is produced by Mark Smart,
Maria Perez,
Twan Griffin, and Elian Cordova. Themed by Lethal Injection and edited by Mark Smart.
The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is a Letters to Media production.
Should we do an intro?